All right, so we're gonna do a quick discussion here about the gems that I think are most worthwhile for alternate qualities. If you've not already looked at the list of alternate quality gems, it's a big list. I encourage you to look at it. In fact, because it's so big, it's kind of cumbersome to browse through the whole thing unless you just sit there and you enjoy reading like I do. What I want you to do is, for whatever build you're about to play, take the gems. Like if you're playing a Impale Cycloner, like go type in Pride, Dreadbanner, Blood and Sand, Flesh and Stone. Go look up all the gems, the active skill gems and the support skill gems that you're planning on using. Make sure that there's nothing cool and spicy in here. If I made a complete list of everything that I think is good, I would just give you this URL. I think the alternate quality stuff for this is awesome, but in the interest of trying to make some kind of list for the ones that I'm excited about, the ones that I think that you should be excited about, or the ones you should know about, we're going to talk about those. So they fall in a couple different categories, but I'm just going to list them. The categories is like some of these feel like they are like lab enchants put onto the gem itself with the alternate quality. Some of them feel like they have like attacks that have spell stuff going on, or maybe like Berserk, but it gives you spell damage or something like that. Pretty cool in that category. There's some stuff that gives you like an alternate play style, like, hey, you can play this like normal, or you could do this like alternate play style instead. I like that kind of stuff. I think it's a really good addition to PoE. Some spells can impale, which is awesome. I think that's really cool. Normally, impale can be applied by only an attack, but it can be consumed by anything else. So now there's some spells like Ethereal Knives, for example, that actually have a 10% chance to impale. So we don't know whether the Impale support gem is going to be changed. It's extremely unlikely that it's going to be changed. But EK can technically impale, and that's pretty neat. So there's a couple things like that, and then some of these are just like truly bizarre. So I'm going to call out like, I got like 20 maybe? 20-ish. I'll put a list on the screen as well. But I'm just going to jump through this. I'm going to Control F these and jump through the list. If anyone in chat here has not looked at this, I'll link this for you as well, so you can see what's going on as well. All right. First up, we're just going to go top to bottom. Arctic Armor, where is it? Arctic Armor. Arctic Armor is one of the ones that I think you should keep your eye out for. Normally, it does nothing. A long time ago, it did something, but now, 20% chance to freeze enemies for a third of a second when they hit you. That's pretty cool. It's like pretty noteworthy, right? Like all of a sudden it does like, you can have enemies freeze whenever they hit you, and you could be playing a Cyclone Impale character, right? You have all fizz damage. You're not going to ever freeze anything, except when an enemy hits you, they might become frozen. That's pretty noteworthy in my opinion. Next up, Ball Lightning. This is a pretty good one as well. It got nerfed. There's some small changes to it. Less AoE, less damage overall, but we have this thing here. Projectiles have a chance to be overcharged. We do know what overcharge mean. A overcharged projectile is 50% more AoE and 50% more damage. So that's been confirmed already by Mark. He was responding to somebody on Reddit. That's pretty good. Again, I'm not going to talk about everything. There's some cool stuff in here. Everyone's got something going on, but I'm only going to call it the ones that really caught my eye. Let's go to Bane. Pretty noteworthy. Bane got, it was on the receiving end of a lot of nerfs. Like plus level targeted curse gems no longer applies to it, which kind of blows, but it does have this. Enemies have a 10% chance to explode on death, dealing a quarter of their life as chaos damage in an AoE. Pretty good. I like this a lot. This is a really nice addition to here. If people are still playing if people are still playing Bane post nerf, this is pretty good. I'm into it. One that I talked about already is this next one, Berserk. This is kind of in the category of stuff that is an attack or is normally associated with attacks that kind of has a spell damage thing going on. I almost don't want to mention this to you because I feel like it's going to be expensive, but the buff grants more spell damage, so you could like have some sort of mysterious way of generating rage. I can't think of any way that a spell character would play rage, but you could use a timeless jewel and gain rage. You pop Berserk, you get a defensive bonus from Berserk, you take less damage, and you have another Val RF on top of your Val RF. It's pretty good. I like this a lot. One that we already saw. Let's go to the next one here on the list. This was in a spoiler a couple days ago before the beginning of the launch. This is Blade Vortex. There's a couple good ones. I think this is really worthwhile, worth noting. Generic damage leeches life. This could be fire damage leeches life. This could be lightning. This could be chaos. This could be physical. Just generic blade vortex damage leeches life slapped right onto the quality of the gem. That really caught my eye. As I reviewed this list before I started recording this here, I was thinking, you know, anything that said leech really caught my eye. So maybe that tells you where my head's at, right? Blood Rage is pretty sick. The normal quality for Blood Rage gives you attack speed, but both these qualities are pretty good. The first quality is a chance to get a frenzy charge when you hit a unique enemy. So all of a sudden, if you like playing POB, you can pretend like you generate frenzy charges on single target. Because you just tell me like, hey, look, I'm gonna use this. This is how I get my frenzy charges on single target. Done. I like that. Next is the second alternate quality. Buff grants elemental attack damage leeches life. If you ever felt like you really just needed to path all the way over to the duelist area of the tree just to get a little bit of leech, well, Blood Rage has you covered. So this is pretty good. I like this a lot. I included this next one. It's kind of in the meme category. I don't want to spend too much time on it. Technically, Decoy Totem exists. Listen, Decoy Totem is busted if you're trying to like level in hardcore. I understand. But also, it's busted if you're trying to make totems explode and deal a bunch of damage. So, I mean, hey, listen. There is technically an Uber Lab Helm enchant that gives you 60% increased totem life for your Decoy Totem. Do with that information whatever you want. We're going to move on. Detonate Mines. The only use of Detonate Mines that I've seen in the past, Detonate Space Mine. The only use that I've seen of this in the past is you used to be able to put this on like cast wound damage taken Detonate Mines, or maybe a spell totem plus Detonate Mines, so you didn't need to stop to detonate your mine, but that was a long time ago. So Detonate Mines, you can buy this in town. It's not a drop only mine, but if you want the alternate quality, you need to get this by doing heist content. Recover 0.2% of life for each mine detonated. So this kind of doubles down on what the Saboteur is doing already with the mine detonation and like recovering life like that. Or I guess maybe if you're thinking about playing like maybe a Scion miner, maybe if you're thinking about playing like some other kind of non-Saboteur miner, this is something that you want to keep in mind, right? Maybe you want to use like Detonate Mines alternate quality to get some extra regen going on because you don't have like the Saboteur regen, right? Pretty good. Couple other things. Let's see. God, I'm on the D's. Ugh. All right. On top of Earthquake, I thought this was sweet. Earthquake, alternate quality, increasing reductions to spell damage also apply to attack damage from this skill. It doesn't apply to bleed. It's only attack damage. So it's like a hit-based thing. But listen, if you want to play Indigon Earthquake, I think this is really notable. It's totally caught my eye, and I wanted to call it out to you as well. Snaring Arrow kind of falls in the same category. It's an attack type thing that applies to spells as well. Ensnared enemies take 10% increased spell damage. It's not game breaking. It's not the end of the world. It's not really that cool, but it kind of fell in this category of like spells that kind of, or like attacks that kind of have a spell thing going on. It's about the same damage as Unnerve. Unnerve is one of those effects that just got introduced to the game. Enemies take increased spell damage. Remember, those are all additive with each other, right? But like, I don't know. It's kind of cool. I don't know how you're fitting this in, but maybe it's like a cast on crit bow character. I don't know what kind of bow you're going to use for this, but I don't know. Maybe your Essence Drain character. No, Essence Drain does chaos damage over time. Maybe your Spellcaster character that's using a bow also wants to shoot an arrow every once in a while. Let the fantasies live. All right, we're going to go on. Ethereal Knives, I pointed this out a second ago. Ethereal Knives has a chance to impale on hit. I don't think the impale support gem is going to be changed anyway. It doesn't look like the skill tree has any additional support for this, but it's cool. I don't know how usable it is. I don't know how much you can really build around this. I wouldn't tell you to use the Impaler keystone on the skill tree. That seems like a hot meme, but this is like pretty cool. I like that this is in the game. I want to see where this goes in the future. Next up, Kinetic Bolt. Kinetic Bolt, you all saw this already. I want to call this out to you. Increases and reductions to cast speed also apply to attack speed. The only thing that I want to say is if you have a keyword, if you have a phrase that says increased attack and cast speed, that only applies one time. That doesn't double dip. But if you have something that says like 10% increased attack speed and then 10% increased cast speed under it, like the starter nodes in the shadow area, for example, those things, they do double dip. So as long as it's not attack and cast speed, it double dips. That's pretty good. Next up, Plague Bearer. This is kind of an interesting one. Somebody in chat pointed this out to me, and honestly, I'm into it. So reduced chaos damage taken while incubating. So incubating means you're not clicking any buttons and you're not doing anything, right? So you can just have Plague Bear on your character. You are incubating. You don't need to pop it, and you take reduced chaos damage, which works really well with Divine Flesh, which seems really good because you're not actually clicking any buttons. It's like a new passive layer of defense as long as you have an extra gem socket in your gear, right? That's pretty good. I was into it. Let's go down the list. We've got a few more active skill gems, and then I'm going to talk about passive skill gems. We have Puncture. I thought this was good. Puncture is like, it's kind of a meme for melee, but like, listen, if you have melee, puncture, bleed, target 2 additional nearby enemies, it kind of seems like a skill that you could play for single target. I don't know about this. It caught my eye. There's a couple other things that have like target 2 additional nearby enemies. Frenzy, for example. Frenzy is a melee attack skill. It could also target an additional nearby enemy. I like that. It really caught my eye, and I want to share it here. What else? Repost. Control F, repost. This is a passive way of generating onslaught. So enemies hit you, you counterattack with repost. 20% chance to gain onslaught for 4 seconds. This one, it's not increased damage. It's not fire additional projectile. It's just like, it's a way of getting a buff that you can automate that frees up some other part of your build. Is into that too. Couple more in the active skill gem section. Smite. Smite, think about if you are a summoner or if you are a aura, like a support guardian or a support scion, for example, if you're playing with your friends. The aura from this, increased effective auras from your skills, you can scale this aura. The aura grants another source of increased attack and cast speed. Pretty sick. Summon skeletons. You saw this one already. This was spoiled a couple days ago before the start of Heist League. One of these, 100% chance for you to play a brand new build that wasn't previously available. Sounds good. So you can summon skeleton archers and have a brand new build altogether. I like it. And the last one here, this is an aura that already got a handful of attention because it got changed to being a flat mana reservation instead of 35. So both of these right here, right? Where is it? Leech physical attack damage. That's not so good, but how about this? You and nearby allies deal increased damage while on full life. You could have a level 1 vitality that has 20% quality. It reserves like 15 mana, and it just gives you 20% increased damage. It's not attack damage, it's not spell damage, it's not chaos damage. It just gives you 20% increased damage, you and all your allies, for like a super low mana reservation. On full life is a pretty easy condition to have, because like you can leech, you could have vitality, it could actually be healing you, or you could be CI, for example. Maybe if you're CI, you always count on full life. That's pretty good. The support gems, scroll. The support gems, I'm gonna put these all in their own category right here. Added chaos support, added cold support, added fire, and added lightning support. All of these, I think that GGG did an awesome job adding alternate quality to them. They all have Fizz converted to chaos damage, Fizz converted to cold damage, Fizz converted to fire, Fizz converted to lightning. The rest of the stats are pretty good. All the alternate qualities are worth talking about. Attack and cast speed, chaos penetration. This is cool stuff. But if you have a skill that already has like 50% converted to an element, you could take a pair of gloves and have like the hunter mod or the warlord mod that has 25% conversion. You could use this and you almost have 100% conversion already done. Like, this is awesome. This is a really good addition to the game. I think it's a clean addition. Archmage, we saw this before a couple days ago. This was one of the ones that was spoiled. This is a huge wall of text right here. What it says is, instead of only gaining the damage as extra lightning, you also have the mana spent gained as extra cold, which means that you could maybe scale cold damage. Maybe you want to scale conversion, convert from like with Call of the Brotherhood, your lightning into cold. Maybe you want to use this to play like an Ice Storm, Whispering Ice build that all of a sudden has damage effectiveness or higher damage effectiveness with better damage. Maybe you just want to play like a normal Archmage build and be happier that you're finally shattering corpses because you have a substantial amount of cold damage to freeze and shatter with. So any of those use cases is pretty cool. Cold to fire. Honestly, I forget what this one's going to be. Cold to fire damage? What was this? Oh, this one goes in the weird category. Cold to fire support Supported skills deal 60% increased damage with poison. Definitely a weird one. It makes me think about multi-step conversion builds that have a bunch of non-chaos gain as extra chaos, and then poisoning with that chaos damage. Sounds like a meme to me, but it also sounds awesome. So here it is. A few more. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 more to go here. Damage on full life. This one has generic attack damage leeches life. So if you are playing a, let's say you're playing a Hawa Jug and you're dealing a lot of lightning damage because you're stacking all your intelligence. Damage on full life. Your Hawa, let's say you're playing CI. This means that full life is always something that's turned on. You're always full life if you're CI. And you always have leech 0.5% of attack damage as life. Constantly. Awesome. Couldn't be happier about this. Next up, another one. Elemental, sorry. Where is it? Elemental damage with attack skills. This one here. Same kind of category. We have more leech, but this time it's mana. So, elemental damage. How do you not call this wed? Yoji, what did you do to me? Alright, elemental damage with attack skills. This is 0.5% of generic elemental damage. Could be fire, lightning, cold. Leeched as mana. This is a great piece of quality of life that you should know about. 2 more to go. We have fire penetration support. Fire penetration. Supported skills destroy ignited corpses on kill. You know that if you play PoE, corpses, things that are already dead, are some of the most dangerous things in the game. So there are like cluster jewels that could destroy ignited corpses. You could use a pyre, the unique ring, to destroy corpses. You could use Herald of Ice. You could freeze and shatter stuff, but sometimes that's not a possibility. So fire penetration support. Supported skills destroy ignited corpses. Awesome. I think there's only one more at the very bottom of this list. Let's go ahead and type it in. Void manipulation support. Void manip has this. We have, again, listen. This is what caught my eye. Chaos damage leeches life. It's like, okay, great. We don't have elemental damage leeches life. We don't have physical damage leeches life, like the normal blood rage or the generic stuff on the skill tree. But we do have generic chaos damage leeches life. It's not attack damage. Chaos damage. If you're playing Dark Pact, if you're playing Hex Blast, if you really want to leech instead of relying on flasks or regen or ES gained on hit Watcher's Eye, we have chaos damage leeches life. I like all this stuff. Again, this is not a complete list. This is the complete list. But the things that I wanted to point out to you were what caught my eye, what I think are really cool additions to the game. For you, here's what I recommend. Like I said at the beginning, whatever build you're planning on playing, come to this link, come to the alternate quality gems in PoE. I'll have it in the description. Whatever build you're planning on playing, type in a couple of the skill gems, type in a couple of the support gems, see what there is here for you. I think all these alternate quality stuff is awesome. These are all like really, really good additions to the game. And when I read through this list for the first time myself at midnight, because that's when it came out, unfortunately, my jaw was just like on the ground the whole time. These are awesome. I'm totally into it, and I'm hyped.